Let's go. Look, we are back again. And look, this 28 power keys to success is going to change your life. It's going to change your situation. This book is changing lives across the world. And I want you to make sure you get your copy. It's right there in the description. Click the link, get your copy today. So, without further ado, man, we're talking about the pipe, right? We're talking about which pipe are you? You know what I'm saying? Pipes are vessels, right? And so oftentimes pipes, based on the type of condition that they're in or the weather and elements, certain things take place with pipes. So I'm asking the question, what type of pipe are you? And the reason why I'm asking that is because this power key has something to do with pressure, right? And have you ever heard the term, and I'm sure you have, pressure burst pipes? Well, pressure also creates flow. It also creates flow. And so we're going to talk about both of these components, but I want you to think about this really quick because sometimes, like, why would pressure bust the pipe, right? Something has to be stopped up, and the pressure has to build up into one point specifically for it to explode. So you got to think about that. Like, what's going on inside, right? What's stopping things from flowing that's causing you to explode? And then at the same time, I want you to think about the flow, what pressure actually do when it creates a flow. Like, I remember drinking out the water hose and it didn't have good flow. And I looked down the line and I'm like, oh snaps, there's a bend in the water hose. And when I did this and got it all clear, the water just shot out, right? So what's stopping the flow? And then when the flow come out, man, it was refreshing. There was a benefit for me. There's a benefit for me. So the vessel, the pipe, whatever type of pipe you have, when there's a flow, there's a benefit that impacts the environment that that pipe is in. Like, so whether it's a house, right? Whether it's a house, whether it's a complex, whether it's a business or organization, when it's a flow, it's positively impacting that place. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit. But before we unload, unpack, unlock, and unveil every attribute and ability that you possess, we gotta give you our piece of the pie. I'm gonna give you my piece of the pie, my perspective, my insight, and my imagination. And we start this off with a definition. Let's talk about pressure really quick. Pressure, the definition that I got two definitions for you today, but the definition for pressure is continuous physical force exerted on or against an object by something it is in contact with. Right? So think about this. Think about this. Pressure, there's got to be some kind of contact. And I tell people this all the time when they're talking about their dreams, their goals, and their aspirations that they want to see face to face. I tell these individuals, you got to make contact. You got to make contact with these things. Like, there's got to be some type of contact before you can put pressure on that. Like, you got to make contact with your dreams to put pressure on your dreams. You got to make contact with your goals to put pressure on your goals. You got to make contact. That means there's got to be some kind of physical force. There's some activity that we got to do. Like, we can't just think about it. We can't just keep on putting it on our LLC paperwork or our corporation paperwork. We can't just keep on incorporating businesses and having all this data and information in place or even in the book. We got to start moving. We got to start acting. And there's got to be some type of physical force to get the pressure, right? To get the pressure. Well, I enjoy this thought process of making contact with things, right? So I always think about, hey, sometimes you got to make contact with other businesses and you got to put pressure on them individuals to put you on stage. Isaiah, hey, you got to make contact. Got to make contact. Put pressure. I'm the reason. I'm the purpose. I'm what you need. I have the value. I have the service. I have the product that you need. Put me on stage. Let me help. Let me impact. That's pressure. When you got what somebody needs, that's pressure, man. You know what? I'm going to pay the $10,000 for you to speak to my organization. Why? Because I need what you have. I put pressure on them. The workshops, I put pressure on them. You see what I'm saying? And you have to put that type of pressure on them. If you're looking for donations, if you're looking for sponsorships, you got to put that type of pressure on them, and you got to put the pressure on them that makes sense. And what's there is going to come out to you. It's going to benefit you. So that's a pipe, right? That's a pipeline. When we talk about business, people, process, and pipeline, you got to talk to the people. You got to understand the process so you can get to the pipeline. right? People, process, pipeline. Talk to the people, make contact with the people, right? Make contact with the people, understand the process so you can put the proper pressure on so you can get the pipeline. And that's where you see the value come in with pressure. Let's take a look at the second definition of pressure because it's pretty valuable in itself. It says the stress or urgency of matters demanding attention. See, I like this one because sometimes we don't have a sense of urgency around the activities that we need to get done to see our dreams, our goals, and our aspirations face to face. You see what I'm saying? We have to be able to put some urgency behind our actions. I understand that you got your goals. I understand that you got your objectives. I understand that you got a plan, but what level of urgency? Like we talk about SMART goals, right? Specific time, like specific and timely, right? We get to timely. We need it to be measurable for sure. We need it to be attainable for sure. Like it got to be reasonable and relevant for sure. But we need to be timely. So we got to make sure that, hey, look, I got some urgency behind my actions, and it's going to actually help me propel myself forward. It's going to help me push my business forward because I'm putting pressure on these things with a sense of urgency. I'm putting some stress on these things. And look, stress can cause things to expand. It can cause things to grow, right? It can cause things to produce the proper amount of stress. Whenever you put pressure on something, there's stress. And that's why there's a flow. Like, so whenever there's a water flow, there's enough stress to push the water through the pipe, because the pipe is made, the vessel is made to be able to have a flow. Right. And so if you put the proper pressure on the pipe with the flow of water, it's going to produce and it's going to be refreshing. When you see the results, when it waters the plants, right? When the grass is green, when the roses are blossoming and they're beautiful and they're all full of color, like this is the benefit. These are the results of the pressure that we put on the pipes to bring forth the water that was needed to bring the nourishment to see the dreams, the goals, the aspirations, the results, the outcomes that we had put in place, the things that we had desired to see. And so it's a demanding of attention. Like you got to demand the attention. I got to demand attention for myself, and you need to demand attention of yourself. Demand attention to your objectives, to the work that you got to get done, to get to your goals, to get to your dreams, to get to your aspirations, to see those objectives through, to meet those milestones, to celebrate, use that celebration as energy to move to the next thing, right? This is the type of pressure and urgency that's necessary. It's demanding, it's pulling, it's tugging, it's pushing me into this position where I'm going to be effective no matter what, no matter what. And it's very important. So there's a few things that take place when you have real pressure. You know, there's a drive that shows up. When you have pressure, there's a drive that shows up. I know a lot of people, and I went to school when I went to my MBA. I put a lot of pressure on myself because I was like, I'm gonna do my MBA in 1 year. It was a 2-year program, 2.5-year program, and I was like, I'm gonna do it in half the time. And I put a lot of pressure on myself, which created a lot of drive. It created a lot of drive, and it forced me to make different decisions against my obligation. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Drive, force, make, yeah, obligation. And you see the results. And I got my degree in 6 months. It's 6 months instead of a year. My projected goal. Why? Because it created a drive in me, a drive, a passion. It generated something in me. And that generation created a force. I had this level of urgency. I need to get this done. I need to get this done. Focus, attention. It was there. And I put this force on myself and on the work and the efforts that I was putting in to make my objectives, right? To succeed in my obligation to get this degree. And you might have a different goal and you might have a different set of circumstances. But what I'm telling you is it works the same. And if you put the proper pressure on yourself, you will see your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations face to face. You will see them face to face every single time. Look, it's very important for us to understand pressure. And so for that purpose, I did break pressure down a little bit, right? We're talking about the 28 power keys to success. Let's jump that right there back on the screen. I broke pressure down a little bit into a type of acronym, but let's see. It says pressure is precision, right? Pressure will create precision. Like we don't want to be sporadic because if the pipe busts, if we're clogged up with things that is not leading us to our dreams, our goals, and our aspirations, then we might see our precision is off. We might see a busted pipe and water going everywhere, our resources going everywhere, right? But if we are flowing, right? If we're clear on our goals and we're clear on what direction we're going and we have our objectives and we have our target, then precision is evident. When that pressure hits, it's going to shoot all of our resources to that one general area. That's exactly what's going to happen. So pressure provides you precision when you're clear on your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations. If you are an individual who's looking to get to that next level, you gotta develop an understanding of pressure. You got to develop an understanding of pressure, which is a key that's going to allow you to access a whole lot more in your life. And then after pressure, after the P, there's an R, and that's responsibility. We talked about responsibility and full ownership with the 28 Power Keys to Success. Think about this. My responsibility is my ability to have the world respond to me. So when I talk about pressure, and there's a balance for sure, because I got to be able to respond as well, but I don't want to be reactionary, right? I want to be able to communicate in an effective way where the world is responding to me. So whenever I put this type of pressure on me, I'm being very intentional about my actions in which I'm receiving a response that's very necessary for me to grow. Right, it's very necessary, nourishing and developing for me to get to my next step or my next objective, or to meet my dreams, my goals, and my aspirations face to face. Also, effort, E-P-R-E, effort. You got to put some pressure. Look, when you have pressure, there's effort. When there's pressure on, you got to put some effort in. And I think we all understand what effort is, but I'm talking about like effort, mental effort. We're talking about physical effort. We're talking about like social effort. You got to make some engagement, financial effort. You got to utilize your resources and point them directly at your target. And that's how pressure helps you maintain your precision. That's how pressure helps you maintain your responsibility and maintain your efforts, right? That's pressure. And then you got to be strategic. And I think this is a really big one. Like, you got to have a plan for where your resources are going. But I think it's important. I really think that it's so important that we have a target, right? If you don't have a target, where are the resources going? And in business, we talk about strategic planning all the time. In business, we talk about strategic planning, and we can create a strategic plan for anything. We can do it for each objective. We can do it for each initiative. We can do it for the business as a whole. We can do it for individuals. We need to understand the strategic plan. You see what I'm saying? And that strategic plan is going to help you meet yourself at a place where, hey, look, the pressure is on, but I got a plan, and that plan is keeping things in place. Every time I have a plan, my plan is keeping things in place. So my resources aren't going where they don't need to go. My efforts aren't going where they need to go, aren't going in places they don't need to go. My responsibility is kept well. And then I am precise with my communication. I'm precise with my objectives, my actions. Like, I'm precise. I'm pinpoint accurate. And then we talked about this power key too just recently with sacrifice. This is the balance. You got to weigh things out. Like, sometimes sometimes when we have pressure, like we put too much, we everything flows too much in one spot. We just turn it on. We just turn the water on, and it just flow, and we flood out. So when you're as a pipe, as a vessel, right? And you got this flow going, you got to know, hey, look, it's time to shift. It's time to move. It's time to balance this thing out. We got to put resources here, and then we need to put resources here. Pressure is big. It's big, but we got to understand it very well. And after sacrifice, it's urgency. We talked about urgency, right? Urgency. If you don't have a sense of urgency, I promise you're going to get left behind. I don't care how awesome your goals and dreams are, you will get left behind because things are continuously moving forward. And you got to have a sense of urgency of getting things done. I'm not telling you to rush. I'm telling you, hey, you got to have a timely sense of urgency. Like, man, we need to get this done in this right amount of time. And you got to know what good looks like, right? And how much time it takes to get what good looks like, right? And that's very, very important. And then another R, P-R-E-S-S-U-R-E. urgency, and now R, repetition. Repetition is big. It's big, and when the pressure is on, it's important for repetition to understand that repetition is present. Like when the pressure is on, whenever somebody is putting pressure on you, your repetition is your conditioning, and your conditioning allows you to move in a manner where it doesn't matter how much pressure you put on. I'm moving in this manner, and it's going, and I'm so used to moving like this. Even if you throw something in my way, I'm able to maneuver. I'm able to maneuver in a manner where I don't lose my consistency. I don't lose my consistency. Yep, things might get a little bit heavier than I expected them to be, but look, I'm keeping the form, and that's what repetition does. It produces a form of operation. It produces a mode of operation. It produces a conditioning where you can function at a level consistently at a long period of time. There's a level of endurance that takes place when you have repetition. Okay, and then on top of that, this is my favorite one when we talk about pressure. The last E, and that's extreme. My vision is extreme. When you really want pressure to produce for you, right? You got to have an extreme vision, and a lot of people are not going to agree with you on your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations. That vision that you have, that mission statement that you put in place, they're not going to be. They're going to be like, man, that's out of pocket, man. There's no way you can do that, and they're judging it based on your current situation of what they can see right now, but they don't understand what you possess. And so, what I love about this is that when externally people don't know what's inside the pipe. But when pressure is put on the pipe, what's inside the pipe is going to come out. And that's what this is. Like what's inside the pipe is precision, responsibility, effort, strategic planning, sacrifice, urgency, repetition, and extreme ideas that literally set trends. That's the pressure that you're going to need to be successful, to see your dreams, your goals, and aspirations face to face. And look, I want to help you continue to unload, unpack, unlock, and unveil every attribute and ability that you possess for success. Make sure you get this book. It's changing lives around the world. Look, and make sure you get this book, read the information. I don't go into detail on everything that's in here, but you can get this book, get the information, go over it, continue to revitalize yourself. Understand that this is putting back into you, and whatever you put in, that's what you're going to get out. That's what I like to tell people around pressure. Whatever you put in, that's what you're going to get out, because what happens is when pressure comes in the pipe, it's going to push it out. Some pipes are clogged up, and when they clogged up, they burst. They'll burst based on the conditions that it's in, based on the elements. So understand, we have to take care of the vessel, and then we got to put the right things in the vessel. So whenever we decide that we want to attack something, whenever we decide that we want to pursue something, whenever we decide that we want to make sure that we meet our dreams, our goals, and our aspirations face to face, the right thing is coming out, and we're effective, we're dynamic, and we're very explosive with what we're doing to see those goals obtained. Look, this is 28 Power Keys to Success. Make sure you get your book, and I'll see y'all at the top. All right.